We welcome you to FIA Formula 2's 10th round here at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. This track is scene of tragedy in the series, with Anton Hubert's horrific accident in 2019. Every time the drivers come here, they know the risks and they know the rewards that come with it. It is a 7.004 kilometre circuit. That's 4.352 miles. 18 laps for the sprint, 25 for the feature. 2 DRS zones, one on the start-finish straight, one on the Kemmel straight. 19 turns, all with names. 102.17 metre elevation change. It is an awesome circuit. Mixed conditions with rain coming in. It's dry at the moment for the 45-minute session. Alongside me in the commentary box is Omi. And Omi, this is going to be a lot of fun, I feel, because we really don't know what's going to happen next. It's so unpredictable here. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning indeed. Very unpredictable indeed, with wet weather in the air as well. An unpredictable weekend. Formula 2 is always unpredictable, but around this circuit especially, we should be in for a very exciting weekend coming our way. Oliver Behrman is out there right now on the circuit, of course, the driver heading to Formula 1 next year.
Yep, Behrman heads out as he goes round the curve to Porphyre, down towards Blanchimont as well. He'll be getting used to it. He'll be in a practice session later on as well, Formula 1, part of his 6 he does ahead of this season. There's Andrea Kimi Antonelli as well, his teammate, who is now a 2-time winner, 1 sprint, 1 feature in FIA Formula 2 as well. And I think Prima finally got themselves back into a swing of things, don't they?
Yeah, I think with Antonelli they have. With Oliver Behrman, I think they're still, especially with going from F2 practice to FP1, then back to F2 qualifying, it is definitely impacting him somewhat, especially doing that quite a bit. Different reference braking, especially around a long circuit like this. You've got to basically adapt around lots of different types of corners as well. Paul Aaron, a driver trying to hit some form once again. Got the 2 points for pole last time out. It was contact between him and me in the feature race. So he's a driver who will be hoping that he can finally get a victory. He can get some good results, and he'll be trying to bounce back after a poor Silverstone and a hung, but also ended with the same result of being a retirement for Paul Aaron. So he'll be trying to turn that around. Will he be able to do so? It is going to be very hard for him, but with wet weather there will be lots of hurdles for him to navigate, as there will be for many drivers, and it gives him an opportunity at the same time, because Isaac Hadjar, he's not had the best of luck this season, and he is the man in the championship lead. Portoletto, also the driver in third, trying to close down on the top 2. So we've got a very fascinating championship battle. Maloney lost his chance massively though, due to the stall in the sprint race in Hungary. That was really unfortunate for him.
One place I shouldn't be right now is the commentary box, full of dust, and it's set my hands off like crazy. Even wearing the gloves as well, so not the best situation. So for a few minutes, let's change over the world feed and check in with Alex Jakes and Alex Brundle.
Off the championship lead, after a strong haul of points in the feature, didn't score in the sprint. The sprint is your bonus, only 10 points for a winner there. All of your heavy hitting is done in the feature race. We're setting the grid for both races. With the half-an-hour qualifying session later on today. This is the only practice session that they get. But the McLaren Junior, he is the reigning Formula 3 champion, Alex. And if you consider the drivers that have gone Formula 3 to Formula 2, if you can win both of those titles, history shows us you go to Formula 1. He's getting himself in contention. You've read us the remainder of the calendar. He's in contention for this title, and he's inching closer after tough weekend for Hadjar and a tough weekend for Aaron.
Yeah, and if they have another tough weekend this time out, I mean, he's within striking distance of the championship lead now, Bortoletto. So the championship, as it stands, 140 points for Isaac Hadjar, who leads the series. Had a decent run of form although a retirement in the sprint race in Silverstone wasn't what he was looking for. Came back the next day, delivered a brilliant feature race win, again on the podium in Hungary. So it's been a decent period of the season for him. 122 points for Paul Aaron, who had a bit of a disaster in the feature race in Hungary, which cost him a relative amount of points to the next man who you were just referencing down the road, Gabriel Bortoleto. With an outstanding run, it must be said, he drove himself into this position with an outstanding run of point-paying finishes from sort of Imola through to the end of the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. And finds himself as the Formula 3 champion in shooting distance of the Formula 2 title in a very different way to those I've seen before who've won back-to-back titles have done it. He's sort of teleported slightly from nowhere at this stage, Bortoleto. But yeah, all to play for in what is one of the closest fought titles in recent times in Formula 2, not least with so many great rookies coming through the ranks to deliver.
Including the one that you're looking at, our most recent race winner, but he's been talking to us about what he's still got to learn in Formula 2.
The thing when I said that is mainly, learning about every details, trying to put together everything, because, still, it's not that I'm doing like big mistakes, but just, sometimes I don't really focus on all the details. And maybe I can leave some bits there and there. So yeah, the goal is, especially this run, is trying to maximize everything and make sure I do the best job as possible in every sessions and deliver the best job as possible.
17 years of age, Kimi Antonelli, as the crowds make their way into Spa. He's very chilled for a 17-year-old who's linked with a Formula 1 seat, isn't he?
He really is extremely relaxed. Hell of a brain on him. I saw a social media video this week where he's sitting with Ollie Behrman, and he can recall the lap times he did in Formula Regional in 2021.
Yeah.
Just outstanding. What lap time did you do in Quali 1? Oh, I did a 51.2. What lap time did you do in Quali 2? Oh, I found 2/10 and did a 50.9. Just outstanding recollection of his racing past.
Total recall. How do you think you compare?
Those two drivers?
No. How do you think you compare if we asked you about your motor racing history? Let's find out.
Oh,
this is Does Brundle Know Brundle? Okay, let's send it back to when you were racing on the weekend here in GP3. Let's find out whether you can remember what your results were. Let's go.
They can't have been that good, otherwise I would have remembered them. Where did I finish? Did I get points?
Well, no, this is what you're meant to remember. Come on, Kimi Antonelli can remember specific lap times, Alex.
I don't know, 12th and 10th.
19th and 11th.
Oh, 19th.
19th
is filthy.
Yeah, never mind.
11th.
I thought
I was on the brink. I was on the brink of points.
Never mind. Very impressive. If you haven't seen it, it's on the Primo social channels. Kimi Antonelli with total recall, better than Alex Brundle remembers.
He remembers his lap time. I can't even remember where I finished.
It's not gone to plan.
And that's why my seat is here and his seat is over there. That's the issue at the moment. Wow, big action on the track, Mr. Jakes. Exactly no cars out there.
No, it's why we got the mini quiz. Do you want another go?
Not really.
No, okay. Let's see if you can fail to remember another part of your motor racing career. Okay. Oliver Behrman on the circuit at the moment. 35 minutes to go. They're confident with the data they've got in the bank for this one, aren't they? Track conditions not at their best, but we're expecting rain all the way through the weekend. We've got a race tomorrow in the sprint. We are expecting Sunday at the moment. I mean, this is Spa weather, for goodness sake. So we are expecting Sunday to be dry, but I almost gave up on that sentence halfway through it because you never know with Spa.
No, you really don't. The only weather forecast worth looking at is the one out the window at Spa. The reason for that, you get a bit of relief rainfall over the hills here, so rain gathers in the air as a result of the topography of the area. Also, the forest kicks out a lot of moisture, so It depends. Rain can sort of spontaneously apparate over the circuit, which is why you get this sort of random rainfall. And the way we predict rain is by watching the weather fronts come in, but the weather front can simply appear here, which is why you get such random weather. At the moment, though, we do have a dry line out on the racetrack. By the end of Formula 3 practice a few moments ago, the slick tyre was clearly faster. Medium and soft compounds of tyre for Formula 2 this weekend, which are on the softer end of the spectrum. There is a super soft tyre available. We do not have it. So I guess of the 4 tyres, these are actually across the middle of the range. If you think it through, it's not a high tyre degradation circuit. Generally, it's all about efficiency and hooking the lap together around what you referenced at the beginning of the broadcast, Mr. Jakes, is the longest lap of the series. 7 kilometres and some extremely challenging high-speed apexes to be very accurate upon.
You're looking down from the highest point, making our way back down the hill now as we head into Rivage Corner. But let's hear now from the driver in your picture. This is Dennis Hauger talking about the subjects that Alex was just referring to. The unpredictable weather and the circuit, one of the best of the year.
The main thing is that it's so long, 7 kilometers. A lot of long straights, so you get good opportunities to pass, fight, set it up. The tire degradation around here is not too bad either. And now there's a new tarmac for this year on the track, so a few new components going into this weekend compared to last year. But I think overall, it's just a cool track. Some fast sections, some technical sections. It's giving you a bit of everything. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
The smile on the face says it all. There are lots of smiles on faces down there in the paddock when you come to this racetrack. It is one that used to resume the season. We used to pick things up after the summer break here, but this is the one before the summer break now. No matter what time that we hold it, we are always looking forward to seeing everyone in the racetrack. And the drivers, this is definitely up there with one that they treasure more than others because of the over century-long history of this place.
It used to be a street circuit here, or a road circuit that headed off into the countryside at the end of the Kemmel Straight. Used to carry on blasting into the Belgian countryside. You can still drive around sections of the old racetrack if you carry on in that direction. The Blanchimont Gate, which is the entrance to the circuit, not often used for single-seater racing exploits, but sometimes you come in that way if you're doing other events around the Spa circuit. To get there, you have to actually use the old track to get in. So, yeah, several junctions and roundabouts on it now, but it would have been a truly terrifying venue, and indeed it was those safety concerns that invited the fully prepared racetrack we see today, which has been augmented and changed. The bus stops had about 6 different goings over, and then in more recent times the extra circuit and the extra runoff added up through the Eau Rouge and Radion section to try to add safety there. Most recently, a big resurface of the racetrack here, which we're looking in dry conditions to make the circuit considerably quicker. Various sports car events here have seen the circuit improve in terms of its time by around 3 seconds per lap. Those cars much more mechanically biased than a single-seater car is, but there'll still be a gain in terms of their lap time being slightly quicker. So it's from turn 2 all the way up the hill has been resurfaced. The middle of Stavelow's been resurfaced, and various other areas as well with a high grip tarmac, as we see Crawford make his way around the circuit in damp conditions, it must be said, very much suboptimal, which is why I think we're seeing a lot of drivers sit on their medium compound tyres and wait this out slightly to get a better qualifying simulation while the tyres are new.
Yeah, not a lot going on if you consider this is their only session. Taylor Barnard, a race winner in Monaco earlier this year, by far the highlight of his season. You can see that he's 20th in the standings in and he's got 18 points to his name. If you think the season is ultra competitive, you'd be correct, because we have a driver beneath him in the championship. Roman Stanek is 21st, and he's a race winner this year. Ultra competitive season, even by the standards of this championship. 14 different winners, 19 drivers on the podium, and if you consider that the driver in second in the points is surely going to win one before the end of the year in Paul Aaron, we're going to add to that total even more. In fact, every weekend it feels that everyone's in the mix. It puts such a pressure to get yourself in the top 10 of qualifying later on.
Had a huge opportunity to do so though, didn't he, Aaron, last time out? Lost that opportunity in the feature race. Bit of a clumsy move on Zane Maloney, effectively just running into the back of Zane Maloney in turn 2. A move that he really regretted after the race, and suffered immense frustration as a result of. But I completely agree with you. Aaron just keeps on putting himself in the position to take a potential race victory. He's got another several chances to do that, and needs to do that really to underline his performance in this year's championship. Isaac Hadjar, the two of those leading drivers who really has the form throughout this phase of the year. Hauger making his way through the exit of Pouon, another driver who was in form last week in Hungary. Pit-Pav chicane looking nice and dry now, and they can jump to those inside curbs where all the grip is, very much downhill into Stavolo. Got to hook up this inside apex. Can't climb the curb though in a single-seater, and can't climb the curb on the outside either like you used to be able to. That all resurfaced. You can see the change of tarmac as he makes his way through the exit, Hauger. And then in mixed conditions, this curve is called Paul Frere, and it's the one on the way down towards Blanchemont. You can't use that outside green painted tarmac in wet conditions. It's just too slippery. Hauger though absolutely flat out through the famous left-hander, and then patience needs to be the order of the day through that final bus stop chicane. You can finish your lap right at the last by being outside track limits through the exit. Hauger hitting a 2:02.9, a decent performance with the track as it is, and the first meaningful lap really of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit in a Formula 2 car this weekend.
Great to be talked around by two-time podium finisher at Le Mans, Alex Brundle. Dennis Hauger with the time that was really enjoyable, but it looks like it's been deleted as he finds himself tumbling down the order. And where was it? Turn 4.
Top of the Radion, we're going to see it now. Ooh, big swapper through the middle. That'll be about fuel load. And as you stand at the base of Radion, specifically for Formula 2 cars, which have less sophisticated ride control than you see in Formula 1, at the beginning of a race, you can see the whole field strike the floor incredibly hard at the base of the Radion section, and they bounce then, they get that little bit of oversteer and so often run over the curb on the exit of turn 4.
Yeah, several drivers having their lap times deleted for track limits. Kind of experiencing that though. It's a slow start to the weekend really, isn't it, Omi, as well? I'm very surprised. No one's out there banking these lap times. All just sort of like, okay, let's see, setup's good, tyres good, cars run, that'll do us. They have got data on this circuit, but not with these cars. So I'm quite surprised that no one's out there in conditions at all.
Yep, not with these cars in as well, as Jack Crawford goes to the top of the timing sheets right now, and a very competitive season of FIA Formula 2 as well, as Isaac Hadjar, the man in the championship lead, just getting out of the way there of the VAR as well. So very interesting to see how this weekend is going to play out. I think we're going to be in for many more shocks to come, especially when we do have the rain. It could be definitely a weekend full of shocks. Dams are going to be trying to return back to the front of the field, with Crawford at least in qualifying. They're a team that have strong race to qualify well, to be able to show it and put it into results. So let's see later on in qualifying, will they be able to get a good qualifying result, as Isaac Hadjar brings us over the line then, and he makes his way down towards Les Rawls.
Had to take these gloves off actually, they're driving at the wall a little bit. So Correa does a 2:02.634 and goes up into top spot. We ride with Hadjar now as well. Feels like the wrong thing's bandaged at some point. There we go. So yeah, Hauger's middle sector looks strong as well with a first sector of a 34.6. So it does have some improvements there as well. We'll continue to push.
Yeah, and how needed this to be his year. It really hasn't turned that way. Yeah, it really hasn't been Hauger's year, unfortunately. Though, in what is most likely his final season, came into this category in 2022 as the Formula 3 champion of 2021, beating Leclerc to that title that year. Yellow flags are out on the circuit, so what has happened is the question, and it seems like we're going to get an answer when we do see the yellow flag on the world feed. We tell him Miata might be the driver, yep, and he's just continued, so the green flag should be back up pretty shortly, but yeah, Miata's gone off.
Red flag.
Red flag.
2 cars off.
Oh, we've got the VAR.
Big one. Big one. Big one. Huge one. There we go. VAR off. Big one into the wall, and the red flag's out.
I think that's Villa Gomez,
Yeah.
who has gone off there as well. But yeah, huge accident. Not what we wanted to see. And that will bring a stoppage to the session. But yeah, a huge moment into the wall. And it seems like Miata was also had a moment at the exact same time.
It is Villa Gomez, you are right. Now, I reckon he's lost it on the exit curb of Malmedy and slammed into the wall backwards and pirouetted back into the track. Think about Fernando Alonso and his accident back in 2010 at that part of the circuit. I think that's exactly what has happened here to Villa Gomez. Maeta's come back into the pit lane and the red flag's out. Yeah. Well, yeah, it was a big one.
Well, yeah, this one has happened. But yeah, huge. Big repair job needed for Van Amersfoort then to try and get Villa Gomez back going as the cars make the debris. We've got Cordeal and Marty all making their way through as well. But let's take a look at a replay. What's happened to Villa Gomez? Takes the 9 normally and then lose it, yep. And then he's going to hit the barrier one way and slide over all the way to the other as well.
Exactly the same as Alonso. Exit curve, as I said, and then hits the barrier and pirouettes 3 times, and everything left in the centre of the track. Has to be a red flag. Session suspended. Handed back to the world feed while they repair the barrier. Time continues to tick down.
As per the rule book, most important thing that he's okay. Being told by the marshals that it's this side of the barrier for the long journey back, and some journeys are longer back than others. He's going to be frustrated with that one.
That's about as far away as you can get, actually, from the pit lane. There is a road that runs around the outside of the circuit there. You can go back through, but it takes a long way back through the damp forest, unfortunately. And he'll rue that error at this stage, you know, just getting up and running. Most of the field without a lap time on the board in free practice. It's just early inattention, and that kind of thing is the kind of thing that when you get through to Formula 2 level, you know, when you're a young driver, you go straight out of the pit lane and you crash the car. When you get through to Formula 2 level, they'll be looking to avoid, because it gives the team a lot to do and really damages your professional prospect for the whole weekend.
Yeah, Villa Gomez finding himself in the barrier. 3-point scoring finishes for him so far this year, including the last race, 10th place in Budapest. There's a former winner around this circuit, Enzo Fittipaldi, was reposting on social media the clip of him absolutely destroying the bollard after he took a win here last year, and then the whole team signed the bollard for him, which was a really nice gesture. So he's got a trophy and a bollard to celebrate his first F2 win. He's added to that, he was the winner in Jeddah earlier in the season.
Celebrating the fact that Bollard lasted a whole Formula 2 race, presumably as well. Fittipaldi, who sits 10th in the championship, having taken a win earlier on in the year back at the feature race in Jeddah.
Turn it up, Ollie. Alex Brundle's terrific. There he is, watching a few moments ago on the mobile.
It's obviously on a delay because he's not shaking his head yet.
A gallery of buzzing that their work is being consumed by Formula One bound Oliver Behrman.
He's a subscriber as well, look at that.
Someone's given him a login. Lucky chap. Yeah, great to see. That's made the gallery's day, you know. Don't need to do anything else after that. Behrman's on the case and reviewing. He was looking at the push lap of Hauger, so that was just a few moments ago before we were interrupted. Ollie Behrman's killing time because we find ourselves interrupted for what I imagine is going to be a replay of this incident, and it is. Gallery having a flyer. Here's Villagomez onto the curb. It's been wet. We started this session with a dry line. Curbs are different to how they used to be. It's not just shiny paint like it used to be, but it was beyond that painted line. It was onto the curb and round he went.
It's the crest of the curb which really catches him out. And so often when a Formula One event comes to somewhere like Spa, they've been sharpened up as well. They just reprofile them and repaint them, so that makes them extra high and extra slippery for the feeder series races that go out earlier in the weekend than the Formula One cars do. Ollie Behrman there will be checking the condition of the track. That's why he's being looking at our. Wow, I don't want to ruin the buzz, but that's what he's doing. He's checking the condition of the track to see where the wet and dry patches are, getting a feel for when he might like to run. They'll be looking for the optimum track conditions to try and get their qualifying simulation in here. Although I'm surprised we haven't seen more of the field out more concertedly, honestly, because it's a race pace venue, this. It's not like Hungaroring where you go out there and you really, you know, you're going to finish in the proximity, at least for the sprint race, of where you're going to start. Spa, there is a good opportunity to gain and lose a lot of places throughout a race distance. So expect to see some race running when we get underway again. And I would imagine that there are a lot of teams who've waited at the beginning of this session who now think, yes, we're running out of time now to deliver our programme.
It was an unusually slow start for a single practice session, but the teams will hopefully get a flurry of laps at the end there. And we've got a huge batch who have only done an install, which is very, very unusual.
Yeah, coming off a race weekend where they had massive tyre degradation to deal with, which often affects the team's mentality. Even if they're at a different circuit, you can kind of get a bit of legacy tyre saving that goes on, but new medium's sitting on so many of the cars, and drivers tend to get out and in again at least once just to make sure everything works, because there's nothing worse than firing the car up with 15 minutes to go, having waited intelligently and saving your tyres to realise you've got a gearbox issue that you have to fix and never get out. So you tend to do the work early, and then they've sat in the pit lane waiting for the optimum conditions to test their medium compound tyres. That's looking like a very sorry machine, unfortunately, for Villagomez. And the team will be pushing now, the organisation. They'll be on the phone in any possible way and making all the possible arrangements they can be to get that car back as quickly as possible, because it's a long way out there. The earlier they get it back, the earlier they can start work on it, and the more chance it'll get out for qualifying.
And Formula 2 qualifying is coming your way at 3 o'clock local time. No, 4 o'clock local time. Read the right part of the timetable, Alex. 4 o'clock local time, we're on air 2 minutes before. And 16 minutes to go in this session.
Zach O'Sullivan there, sat in the ART. I have on good authority he's not feeling very well this weekend. So driving with a little bit of feeling a bit under the weather. So we wish him the speediest possible recovery. Often difficult as if you're not feeling on top form. So brave stuff from O'Sullivan behind the wheel of the ART. Has not done a flying lap out there yet. This is the driver that we've seen most of the activity from. Hauger lost a lap immediately and was halfway through a second one when Villagomez put it in the wall through the exit of Malmedy.
Alex, you've driven some of the absolute best racetracks on the planet. Where does Spa sit in the great pantheon of challenges?
It's an immense challenge. I personally don't like Spa that much.
This is my own fault for not checking what you thought before we went on air. Why aren't you a Spa fan?
loved the challenge of Spa when it was super tough through Eau Rouge on the very limit. I find we've lost an element of the challenge of it with the wide expanses of the racetrack there. I understand the safety concerns of that, and there's no way round that really. Although improvements have come recently with the addition of the gravel traps. I really like that around the outside of La Source and through the mid corner of Stavelot. But drivers are supposed to absolutely love Spa. It's never been a particular favourite of mine in terms of it being a joy to drive. In terms of a challenge, though, you know, getting those high-speed apexes absolutely right is the key here, because there are such long runs after them. So it's all about accuracy with the hands and control of the brake pedal into high-speed apexes, and that is something that really is difficult to do, especially in an aerodynamically dominated racing car. You've got to keep the attitude of the car perfect in order to have the maximum grip and downforce as you turn through those fast corners, but you've also got to make the car do aggressive things on track. So management of the platform of an aerodynamic car while you turn viciously through high-speed apexes is the key challenge, and that is a huge challenge of getting around this venue.
Great insight for a driver who has been to some of the great racetracks of the world, and as we found out earlier on, even one of them when it comes to Fuji. Excellent stuff. So, very strange situation now in that the maximum lap count on our monitor is 5 on the board. A lot of the field have only done an installation lap. This has gone from a practice session to effectively a warm-up now before qualifying. Yeah, really has. They're out there getting a feel for it. Drivers at this level will have been round here. You know, a lot of domestic series, even if they've not raced here at the level below, a lot of domestic series will have moonlighted here. They come for a bit of a visit here, so it's a staple on so many calendars. There's not a track learning part so much towards everything that's going on with regards to drivers getting their eye in. So it'll be all about waiting for the optimum conditions to maximise the car. But yeah, very much a warm-up, a check of the data, make sure the wing level is broadly correct, but after that, they're going to have to go qualifying on a very different compounder tyre, and it's going to be all down to their natural feel for the racetrack. Let's hear from one of the team principals now in the paddock. Campos having an extraordinarily strong year, and Adrian Campos Jr. has been talking to us about racing in the crazy weather conditions of Spa.
To race in Spa for us means, you know, that we are in a very special track, but always the weather is crazy, so you never know what is going to happen. So I always say that looking at the forecast here is like wasting your time, because it can change from one day to the other, from 1 hour to the other, or, you know, from one moment to the other. So it's quite intense and quite stressful for the teams to do always the right strategy in a place like this one, where at any time can start raining or can dry up very quickly.
So the difficulties of getting things right around this circuit. It is a brand new car for this year. It has changed the outlook in our traditional competitive picture from previous years. We spoke about that extensively in the last round at Budapest, but Campos have really thrived this year. They've had a pairing of drivers that they've been happy with, both the Red Bull Juniors, one in a rookie year, one in a second season in which Isaac Hadjar knew he had to perform. They're second in the team's championship, and they lead the drivers with the man going through Radion corner.
Oh, striking floor on the way through the base of Eau Rouge there, and this track's going to be a really a leveler for the teams, an understanding of, or we'll definitely get a feel for how well they understand this new car. The rake, the difference between the front and the rear ride height, and the ride height they fly the car at, so important, as well as the aerodynamic specification that they run the car in around this racetrack. And the difference in lap time you could gain and lose, because the circuit is so long and you're going flat out for such a long period of it, is huge. So it's going to be a really interesting sort of expansion of the differences between the teams in terms of how they're running the car, and really a check of the homework for these great feeder series enterprises at this stage of the year as to how they understand the aerodynamics of this more ground effect dominated era of Formula 2 car.
Thank you, two. So, session's underway again, 10 minutes to go. Crawford's on a lap time in that middle sector. Yeah, a bit of improvement there as well. I think, I mean, they were right in what they were saying, that it's become now very much a warm-up session. And that's not really fair for the drivers, because they're all going to start struggling a bit too much.
Yep, going to give us a very interesting qualifying session later on. Lap times coming in there. Martins goes to the top, Barnard to P4, now 5th, because Richard Verschoor, the man who was disqualified from victory once again at the Hungaroring, has moved up now to 3rd. Hadjar goes to 2nd. Let's see what Jack Crawford can do. Will be desperate for a good qualifying result in comparison to last time, and if he can go to 1st in qualifying, he'll be very happy with that one. He's right now at the top of the timing sheets for practice. Miata in 5th, Colapinto in 6th. The driver who has hit form lately as well, so he'll be one to keep an eye on. So will Dennis Hauger in what most likely could be his final Formula 2 season before he goes elsewhere as well. So keep your eye on Dennis Hauger, especially when it does come to wet conditions. Experienced drivers will have the little upper hand compared to some of the rest in the field. But a fascinating weekend of FIA Formula 2 coming our way. And keep your eye though on Aaron and Hadjar. Those two are going to try and get a perfect weekend, especially Aaron. And if they don't get a perfect weekend, they are giving an invitation to the two drivers behind, Bortoletto and Maloney, who are both going to definitely go hunting. As Crawford's lap time has been deleted, they'll both definitely go hunting, and they could add a few more battle fire than we have. It's currently 2 realistically, but 4 drivers definitely in with a shot as well.
Track limits at Radion for that one. So turn 1 is the Source, turn 2 is the Rouge, turn 3 at the top of the hill is Radion as well. So turn 2, 3 and 4, it all adds in. So turn 4 is Radion. I hate where, do you honestly, I'm glad that WTF1 has kind of died a death. Because that's Radion actually. And they got it wrong. They said, oh yeah, it's all that. Radion is the top of the hill. It's not going up the hill, it is the top of the hill. Keep saying this every year. Eau Rouge is the bottom and the run up the hill. Radion is at the top of the hill. It's not the hill, it's at the top of the hill. So, yeah, when I saw it, I was like, you idiots. You absolute idiots. Because Radion's at the top of the hill. It just grates on me every year. Every year, so I'm channeling, because my hands are bad at the moment, so I'm channeling the anger. 159.682 for Hauger. He's top. Bortoletto is carrying through Bonchemont as well. You know that feeling when you want to smash something? There we go. That's what it is, because it hurts so bad at the moment. I might honestly give up for the rest of the day and just try and get this sorted, because it's really painful. Bortoletto goes second, 2:1.144 as well. It's like you're constantly it makes you irritable as well. It makes you really irritable. Hulkenberg watching on as well in the background. Gerson goes third. And Nico. Oh, it really does make you honestly, I'm hating my life right now. It's so painful. I wish I could explain it to you.
It's gonna be a long weekend for you.
It's this box. It's too dusty, so it just sets you off. Martin's first sector's good. 34 exactly.
Yeah. So he's pushing as well. Is the Alpine Junior rookie of the year last year, highest returning driver this year, and he is also going to be with a bit of a confidence boost on the wrong strategy, I think it's fair to say, in both races at the end of it at least. The soft compound of tyres in the sprint race, which he nerfed home to a 2nd place after a short disqualification, finished third on the road, and then in the feature race got second. He got second as well, just about holding on to that second place for sure. And other drivers on the software coming as well. So on the wrong strategy at the end of both races, still able to get the second places. So he's scored a lot of good points from last time, and it must have given him a good confidence boost. And he's already said before this weekend that he is going to first position and victory as well. Right now, though, he'll try go to the top of the timing sheet, and he does by nearly 9/10 for Victor Martins.
Rashaw's moved up into third. Antonelli now to second. It's Victor Martins on top. Isaac Hadjar jumps to the top. 158.761. 26 thousandths faster than Martins at the moment as well. Marty up into 12th. Colapinto up into 4th position. Crawford down to 5th. Fittipaldi moves up into 13th position. And here is Andrea Chimiati now coming through Rouge to the top of Radion. Maeta goes up to 9th.
Yep, indeed. And of course, we've got the P9 as well. The driver who finished second on the road in Spain, but had that taken away from him due to a penalty. Same race, Correa. Podium got taken off, got it back though in the feature race. And he was making his way through with a little dip with the rear tyre in the gravel as Correa goes pushing on, and great to see him back out on this circuit. True tenacity to be retired for the second year running around this venue.
Nearly cost him his life here, of course, for Juan Manuel Correa. Always determined to come back, and it's a testament that he can. And everyone always remembers Antoine Hubert as well. Pierre Gasly yesterday did the racing for Antoine as well. Raced around the circuit, raising money, and also stopped as his usual position at the circuit as well to put down some flowers. Hard to believe it's 2019 as well. Taylor Barnard has several drivers going slow. Hadjar, Barnard and O'Sullivan all going slowly when the yellow flag came out. So 3 drivers missing some part of the track.
Yep.
Gone green now.
Indeed, and later on this year when we run the F2 Sprint at Monza, that will also mark exactly 5 years on the 31st of August. That will be the F2 Sprint at Monza that day. It'll mark 5 years since the passing of Hubert as well. So we'll definitely be celebrating it that day. Bortoletto is pushing on, and Aaron's definitely going to be trying to give his team boss a victory in possibly what could be Oliver Oak's last race as part of High Tech in Formula 2 and Formula 3 as well. He could be getting that promotion up to Formula 1 with Alpine.
A lot of traffic.
From Zandvoort onwards.
Super amount of traffic for Bortoletto. That's going to be an issue coming into qualifying as well. And how much did he lose in that middle sector? A lot. He's down to 9/10. And look at all the lockups into La Source. My goodness
huge
me.
lockup into the fast corner.
Looks like someone started a barbecue. Really, a lot of smoke. They're down there in the first corner. Hadjar's a 158.761. Go on.
Indeed, yeah, lots of smoke there as well. So currently, looking at the timings, we do have Isaac Hadjar, who, as I mentioned, has got unlucky so many times in Saudi. So a little bit of luck. Well, he didn't really make the grid last time in the feature race as well, which cost him a chance of victory. That was a team mistake as well, not timing it right. O'Sullivan, one of our winners earlier this year from the Monaco feature race, that was absolutely brilliant from. He will continue to push on in what is rumoured to be his final Formula 2 as well. It's his first and might be his last as well. He's not interested in a second year in the category. He might want to go elsewhere. So that will be interesting to see what's going to happen with him. And then rumoured, of course, to be Stanek's last few races as well in FIA Formula 2. And then we'll probably be getting a promotion Formula 3 from Baku onwards. Fornaroli could be getting that promotion up to Formula 2 for 3 rounds in the category before he gets a full-time seat next year.
All gets confusing with who's going to go where and when. Silly season very much kicking off across all classes. Here comes O'Sullivan then. Up to the line. And goes up to 4th, 159.538. Martens, 158.7, 4.0. 21 thousandths faster. Flags coming out. Antonelli goes into third, 159.177. Flags out. Session is over. Paula on 19th. Hadjar top by 10 thousandths, 158.730. Crawford 7th. Borgletto in 8th. Maloney 11th. Aron goes 4th, 159.3. Colapinto, Crawford for sure. Maloney, Marty up to 13th. Maney 16th. Cordeal jumps up into 5th. Great from him. Oops, that's Behrman.
Ooh.
That's coming out of Fania.
Oliver Behrman. He's losing it.
This is the traffic. Oh.
Lots of traffic with Bortoletto at the end of the lap.
Qualifying's gonna be fun, isn't
Yeah.
it? Oh, and Maney too. A lot of traffic. Oh, he nearly took. Oh!
Oh! That was even closer for Maney compared to his teammate.
Nearly hit Barnard. That's a lot of that. The stewards have a look at that before qualifying. Hauger. Can he top the session? I don't think so. Looks too far off the pace.
Seems like it. So we'll see what he can do across the line. But yeah, as referenced by Alex Jakes earlier on and Alex Brundle, do take a look at the Prima socials
Yes.
for that video with Antonelli remembering those sector times. That is absolutely incredible, showing that his driving skills are definitely second best. He's got a skill that beats it. It seems like.
So Tazak Hadjar then is top of the session. Let's transfer over to the World Lead before we get our last source in the session.
Isaac Hadjar just likes to rest the hand. So often indicative of the fact that the driver in a spec car is not quite happy with the inclination of the steering wheel. That you can get pain in your wrists, particularly if it's a heavy steering wheel. Often though, in a spec single seater, unlike in a development formula, you can't change it. So you've got to deal with it. The only thing you can do is move your seat and change the way you incline the seat. Hadjar there just giving the hand a bit of a rest as he makes his way into the pit lane. Or indeed, he doesn't make his way to try a practice start out. Why not? Because this could be the only dry opportunity they have before they go racing.
Yeah, it's a mixed picture in terms of the weather, as you would expect in Spa. The nature of the pit exit was providing us with plenty of drama last year, wasn't it? With drivers hitting the exit of the pit wall. It's too tight in there, so they send them round to the grid for a chance to practice their race start, and then they will send themselves back to the support race pit lane where they are based. They get actual garages here at Spa, and back to where the original pit straight was located, with their session in the books interrupted with a crash of the Van Amersfoort racing car of Villa Gomez, and meant for a busy end of session there, making use of the final 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was an interruption just at the moment when I think most of the field was starting to think about going out to start their run. Tricky session for Zane Maloney, the driver very strong early on in the year, in what was a more representative session than the Formula 3 cars had this morning. Most drivers getting a decent run at it, weren't they, across the line, even though the track will be still improving through to the end of the session. Only 14th for Maloney in his road-in. Looked stronger last weekend at Hungaroring before the contact with Aaron, but indeed he will have a little bit of time to find. Decent field spread as well, as we often see in Spa. 58.7, the best time from Hadjar.
Bortoletto was getting out of the car, found himself trailing down the hill into the fast lane, had to jump back into the car and stand on the brakes there as his team rush out of the garage. A little bit of admin, parking up.
You need to be careful you don't break the pit lane speed limit as well when you roll out of that support race pit lane. So downhill is it that you actually have to often run 2 pit lane speed limit settings here. One to get out of the support race pit lane, and then another one to use the pit lane in the race, because however well your pit lane speed limiter is calibrated, it's slightly different between the two.
Alex Brundle has all of the answers, even for...
Absolutely. So it's Isaac Hadjar, Victor Martins, Antonelli, Aron, Cordile, Hauger, O'Sullivan, Colapinto, Crawford, Bortoleto for sure, Maeta, Fittipaldi, Maloney, Marty, Barnard, Correa, Durskin, Maney, Behrman, Villagomez and Stanek. Omi, what's your final thoughts on the session?
Well, an interesting practice session topped by Isaac Hadjar. We're going to be in for an interesting qualifying, which will set the grid for both races. Should be an absolutely exciting qualifying session coming up. Cannot wait to see who's taking pole.
Cheers, Omi. We'll see you shortly then for Formula One's session in about an hour and 20 minutes time. Grab some lunch. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.